Hello everybody, this is your main man Keith here from Keith Plays PS4 927. Happy Friday morning to all my awesome viewers on this awesome channel. Today we are in episode 5 of our NBA 2K23 Road to the NBA Finals series, and we have accomplished one level of the NBA postseason by sweeping the Cleveland Cavaliers 4-0. And now we advance on to the conference semifinals against the Milwaukee Bucks. So next round, if we win against Milwaukee, we will either face off against the Boston Celtics or the New York Knicks. I would highly would love to see a Sixers-Celtics series, because they are an instantly classic NBA rivalry in the Eastern Conference. And plus, once we make NBA Finals, our projected opponent, I would say, would be the Golden State Warriors. So without a further ado, we will show you the uniforms, and we'll see you guys at tip-off. Alright, so for the Milwaukee Bucks, they are going to be wearing their white association uniforms on the road. And meanwhile, for the Philadelphia 76ers, they are going to be wearing their blue icon uniforms, which they have been only wearing those uniforms ever since Game 1 of the Eastern Conference first round. So we'll see you guys at tip-off. Alright, so it is now tip-off time here at Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. And Drew Holiday has possession. He's going to pass it over to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Gets that in for 2. So now I'm going to pass it over to Joel Embiid. It is going to be a 3-pointer from behind the arc. So now Drew Holiday has possession. He's going to pass it over to Giannis. And Drew Holiday picks up that assist. So now I got James Harden on the court. So now the former Houston Rockets player actually misses that 3. And now Joe Ingles, he's going to pass it over to Chris Middleton. Keep in mind, the Milwaukee Bucks were NBA Finals champions 2 seasons ago. I mean, I like this Milwaukee Bucks team. They look pretty elite. And plus, to speak the facts, I mean, the Bucks haven't won an NBA Finals series since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a member of that team in 71. So he was known as Lou Alcindor at that point. And I think around 70, like September, October-ish, he was known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So now we got James Harden. Gets it in for 3, and it's now a 9-8 lead. So now Giannis Antetokounmpo going to pass it over to Drew Holiday, going to pass it over to Brook Lopez, gets it in there, and it's now 10-9. And I got Joel Embiid, and he's going to shoot this in from mid-range, and it's now 11-10. And Milwaukee's 100%, and Philadelphia, they're 80% in field goals, so not bad starts by both teams. They're pretty impressive, I'd have to say. But I would consider an 80 a B, I would at least say. So now Brook Lopez, he just spins, gets it in, and now I'm going to use Tyrese Maxey and then back to James Harden. Maybe some Tobias Harris, and I accidentally step out of bounds. I mean, if I didn't step out of bounds there on accident, I would have literally gotten a 3-pointer, so that would have been legitimate. But now Bobby Portis knocking down a 3, and now the Bucks are just dominating on the road. And I have seriously got to have a strategic game plan along the line. So now Montrezl Harrell, he's going to actually get that one in for 2. And it's now 13-15. So we're going to pass it over to Grayson Allen, and then over to Bobby Portis, and now Portis losing the basketball. They only got 3 seconds left on that shot clock, and they make it in right before the buzzer beater even hits. So that is one thing to see there. So now we got DeAnthony Melton knocking down a 3 for Philadelphia. So Milwaukee has been taking this first quarter lead ever since the game began. And now Grayson Allen going to pass it over to several teammates. And now there's 5 players on a basketball court. Well, technically 10 altogether, 5 per team. So now Grayson Allen, he's going to try to do a spin and actually gets it in right before the shot clock hit like 0. So now there's no shot clock left in the first quarter, and there is a foul on Shake Milton. So Philadelphia, they're down by 1 point. So if they try to make a steal and get a point. All right, so now Milwaukee had taken majority of the lead of the first quarter. So now we're into the second quarter right now, and we knocked down a 3. So now this is our largest lead so far by 3 points. So Tobias Harris made a 3, surprisingly. I mean, he did attempt a 3, but he had his left foot out of bounds. So you got to pay attention to where like the sideline paint is located, because you don't want to get an out of bounds call and such. I mean, if you do, and there's 7 lead changes, 2 ties, largest lead was Milwaukee by 5. So I got Montrezl Harrell knocking down a 3. Now it's Philadelphia taking the larger lead. So it's now 31-26. So Milwaukee down by 5 points. They were up by 5 points in the first quarter, but now it is the hometown Philadelphia squad. And I'm going to pass it all around. Use some Tobias Harris even. Going to knock a 3 down for that. And it's now 34-28. Now Drew Holiday, he's going to pass it over to Joe Ingles, who formerly played with Utah. And he's going to, in fact, knock a 3 down. And the Sixers will take a timeout. All right, so it's now 34-31. I am going to use James Harden. Going to pass it over to Shake Milton. And now Joel Embiid gets it in safely. So now Giannis Antetokounmpo tried to make a block, but Embiid got it in just in time. So now Chris Middleton going to knock a 3 down, and it's now 36-34. And I'm going to pass it around. Use some Joel Embiid. And Embiid actually gets this one in, even though Brook Lopez had a foul. So this gives Joel Embiid an extra opportunity to score one more point in. So it's now 39-34. So Sixers are still up by 5 points. So Drew Holiday going to pass it over to Joe Ingles, and Holiday will actually pick up the assist. So now Milwaukee has been aiming at 3-pointers lately all this game. So now I'm going to actually step back and do a mid-range shot, and we do in fact get it in. So it's now 41-37. Hot start today. 12 points for Joel Embiid and 5 for 5. So Embiid does have a foul right there. So it appears that Milwaukee is going to pass it over to Giannis, and then Connaughton, I do not know what his first name is. Now they're going to dribble it out. They're going to pass it over to Brook Lopez, and missing that. So now James Harden picks up a rebound, and now Joel Embiid gets this one in for 2. It's now 43-37. So now James Harden makes a steal, and he is going to make the first dunk for Philadelphia in this first half. So now both teams have missed at least one field goal opportunity, which is 94%, which isn't a bad number all in all. So now it's 45-40, making that 47-40 if I got that in pretty safely, and I sure did. So now James Harden has 10 points there, and now Giannis going to pass it over to Carter, and Giannis Antetokounmpo will pick up an assist. So now I'm going to use some Joel Embiid, going to knock a 3 down, and it's now going to be, 2, and it's now 49-42. All right, so it is now 49-44. I'm going to pass it around to James Harden and then some Joel Embiid for a 2-pointer rather. And it's now 51-44. So now there is a foul on Tyrese Maxey. So there's only 21.7 seconds left of the first half. And already Philadelphia is up by at least 5 points. And now Joel Embiid knocks down a 3, and it's now an 8-point lead. So I could see this series being a pretty good one. The conference semifinals. So now we're going to pass it over to Drew Brees. Our Joel Embiid gets it in, and it's now 56-48. And it is already halftime here in Wells Fargo Center. All right, so now Joel Embiid, 23 points in the first half. So now I'm going to pass it over a little bit, pass it around. And then some Joel Embiid getting it into the paint. So it's now 58-48 here in Philadelphia. So now Joe Ingles with possession. Going to pass it over to Brook Lopez. Ingles with that assist, by the way. And now we got James Harden going to pass it over to Shake Milton. And Tobias Harris actually going to get this one in for 2. Now it's 60-50. So Philadelphia is up by 10 points. And now they're going to pass it over to Joe Ingles. And Joe Ingles, he's going to pass it over to Brook Lopez, gets that in. And it is now 60-52. So Embiid, 25 points, 11 for 11 in field goals. And I think Ingles has 10 points, and now Harden knocks down a 3, and the Sixers are up by 11. I could see this series maybe a 5 or 6 game series. So now Giannis gets a lob pass. I think it was from Middleton. So now I'm going to pass it around. Some James Harden going to get that one in for 2. Now it's Drew Holiday that has that shooting foul. 15 points for Harden, 3 assists. Now it's going to be 16 points for Harden. And now Giannis Antetokounmpo loses the basketball, then picks it back up right away. And now Giannis going to pass it over to Drew Holiday. And now Chris Middleton going to pass it over to Joe Ingles. Gets that in. Sixers take a timeout, though. All right, so Milwaukee is down by 17. I'm surprised that they took that lead in the first quarter, and then less than 2 seconds left, they struck back, and Tobias Harris has a first personal foul, and that is a charged foul. He ran into Chris Middleton like he was doing a truck move, like Jerome Bettis would have done to one of his defensive opponents. I mean, that's perfectly fine in football, but on a basketball court, totally unacceptable. You're in 2 different worlds. One's made of wood and one's made of turf or grass, depending. And now Tobias Harris gets it in, so it's now 75-60. Tobias Harris with 20 points, and he is just winding up to look like he's going to be player of the game sometime soon. And now they do a lob pass, and they dunk that. And now I got Joel Embiid. So now Joel Embiid gets it in, so it's now 77-62. And that was the first dunk of the game for Embiid himself. So now they're going to pass it over to Chris Middleton. And Bobby Portis getting that in for 2 points. Now it's 77-64. So Montrezl Harrell, the former Clippers and Rockets player. I mean, he did spend some time with the Los Angeles Lakers, you'd have to admit. But now there is a foul on Montrezl Harrell with only 21.2 seconds remaining in the third quarter. And Giannis is going to pass it over to Pat Connaughton and going to pass it over to Holiday. And Antetokounmpo just gets that in for 2. And it's now going to be 81-66. Philadelphia leads. So Philly wins it. They will lead the series 1-0 in this conference semifinals. And now Tyrese Maxey has a shooting foul. So they're going to go to the free throw line, Milwaukee. All right, your State Farm assisted game is coming right up. So now it was Shake Milton passing it over to James Harden. So 83-68. Milwaukee is down by 15. So now all they really got to do to tie this game up is just shoot 5 more threes, and Philadelphia would have to miss all their shots. So now we got Tobias Harris. I think he's going to get this one in from mid-range. And it's now 85-71. So Tobias Harris with 26 points, 11 for 11 in field goals, which is one good thing because you want to be at that level where, I mean, the pros are the most talented basketball leagues in the entire planet. I mean, players from all over the world play in the NBA. It's just competition after competition. So now Tobias Harris makes a steal, gets that in for 2. Now it's 89-73, and the Sixers are down by 6. All right, so it's now 89-75. James Harden going to pass it over to Joel Embiid, and now Joel Embiid gets that in for 2. It's now 91-75, 29 points for Embiid today, and 5 from mid-range. But now Ingles going to pass over to Giannis, gets it in there for 2 points. And now we got James Harden going to pass it over to Joel Embiid, and he gets that in from behind the arc. It is now 94-77, and the Sixers, all they got to do is just shoot 2 threes to get a hundo, or score at 2 points 3 times. All right, so now Chris Middleton, he is going to, in fact, knock a 3 down, and it's now 98-83. So now Tobias Harris steps back and knocks a 3 down. Now there's less than 2 minutes to go. And now Drew Holiday going to pass it over to Joe Ingles, and Joe Ingles going to pass it over to Chris Middleton. Middleton going to pass it over to Giannis, and now Antetokounmpo attempts a dunk, but there is a foul on Montrezl Harrell. So it's now 101-84 with about a minute 25 to go in this fourth quarter. So Philly just looks really elite right now, and they're starting to look like NBA playoffs material. I mean, if they face off against Golden State
you better believe it's going to be a 6-game series. You better believe, because Embiid and Curry are one of the most elite players in this league right now. And now he attempts the dunk, misses that. Embiid picks up that offensive rebound. That is just strategic teamwork right there. And now NBA MVP candidates or nominees for the past few seasons, Embiid and Antetokounmpo, are battling it off in the semifinals. So now Embiid gets it in. So it's now 108-89. 36 points today for Joel Embiid. And now Giannis is going to pass it over to Grayson Allen, and then Thanasis Antetokounmpo, whom we did not see him all game. Giannis's older brother just gets that in. So it's a coincidence, because if you guys have Disney Plus, there is a film named Rise. It's about the Antetokounmpo brothers playing on their lead to play basketball from their early childhood youths in Greece. And it's just an incredible true story. It is really, really good. I highly would suggestedly recommend it if you haven't watched it yet. Personally, I do not have Disney Plus, but my uncle was thinking about watching the film one time, and him and I were watching it, and it was just unbelievable of how they became the basketball players of today. And now it is 115-93, and I think they're just going to dribble it out. And the Philadelphia 76ers beat the Milwaukee Bucks 115-93. Great comeback by the Philadelphia 76ers in the second, third, and fourth quarters. And it was just Milwaukee leading it out for the first quarter, which was, I thought, would be a beginning of the semifinals. All right, Tobias Harris, 45 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals on the day, 7 for 7 from behind the arc. I would give him player of the game, to tell you the truth. I mean, he scored more points than anybody, claimed 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals each. And I know we didn't do our New Balance player of the game. Joel Embiid, 36 points in all. 2 rebounds, 2 assists on the day. Had 1 dunk there. James Harden, 18 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 dunk as well. Montrezl Harrell had a dunk with 7 points in all. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 19